Welcome to CultureCast. Today we'll be discussing The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. My name's Allie.
My name is Maddie.
My name is Doug.
My name is Alexandra.
My name is Shukun.
And my name is Madison.
Margaret Atwood is a Canadian author who began writing at the age of 6, even though she did not receive a full education until the 8th grade. Atwood enjoys writing science fiction over realistic fiction because it gives her the ability to explore various themes in fun and unique ways. Having been integrated with intellectual females during her later education, many of her novels emphasize societies based on patriarchy and the rule of men. Though some of her popular works hint at feminist theme, Atwood does not label her work or self-supporting feminism because she does not think she's an active member in the feminist movement.
The Handmaid's Tale is the story of Offred.
Wait, what's her name?
Her real name is never mentioned, but the handmaids are referred to as of, and then the name of the community they belong to.
Belong to? That's a little disrespectful, don't you think?
Not that they have a choice, but most of the characters prefer not to go by their real names because it reminds them of their past lives. In fact, Offred chooses not to tell anyone her real name except for Nick. She lived a normal life with her husband Luke and her daughter until the U.S. government was taken over and she was forced to give up her freedom.
So what exactly happened? Why was her freedom taken from her?
The United States was taken over and turned into the Republic of Gilead. This totalitarian government took away the rights of all women, like Offred, and forced them to become handmaids due to low reproduction rates in society. Most of the story takes place in Cambridge, Massachusetts. The Handmaid School, or Red Center, is located on what used to be the campus of Harvard University. The reconstruction and reuse of this university represents the reconstruction of the entire United States into Gilead.
Wait, go back. Does Offred and her husband have a kid from another couple?
No. Handmaids are assigned to a commander and his wife. They are forced to have impersonal sex with them every month and hope that they get pregnant. Then the handmaid must give them the child, if she's lucky enough to conceive.
So, who are the commander and the wife of Offred? Why can't they have their own child?
The commander is a high-status male who is in charge of the house Offred lives in. His wife Serena Joy is a former gospel singer and an advocate for traditional values. This is the couple Offred is supposed to bury a child for because of the wife is unable to conceive.
There's no way anyone would be able to get me to do that.
Me either, but they didn't have a choice. Offred was separated from her family after trying to escape to Canada and has no courage to escape since. They are not allowed to leave the house, read, leave their doors closed, or speak freely because they have eyes on them at all times. Any sign of resistance, it is off to the mysterious and terrifying colonies.
It doesn't seem right to me that they can control all these women's rights. Why wouldn't they go along with it and not rebel?
Women were afraid. Rape and sexual violence were a commonality in their past society, and they were taught it was their fault. It was their responsibility to adapt this new culture. While in training to be a handmaid?
Wait, so women were trained on how to have sex with their commander?
Not like that. It was more like training on why these changes were happening. At the Red Center, they were told they weren't respected by men because of the way they acted and dressed. Led by women or aunts who fully believe in the new society and laws, Offred was told these attacks were the fault of women and they should do everything to avoid unwanted attention. By complying with these new laws, women felt safe as well as worth something, even if it was only their fertility.
So is the one for safety higher than the one for individual rights?
I think so.
So do the women actually benefit from these new laws? Because it seems like they aren't allowed to do anything.
They believed they were benefiting the entire republic. Procreating is important to humanity, and as the commander said, everyone might not enjoy the laws or accept them, but desperate times called for desperate measures. The commander himself said to Offred, "You can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs."
Speaking of eggs, they seem to be a pretty big symbol in this novel.
Yeah, did you notice how that's what Offred eats for breakfast every day? And they are frequently brought up and associated with pleasure.
It seems like women are constantly reminded of their fertility and how important that is.
Right, they are. The women are also compared to flowers a lot as well. They are used subtly and frequently throughout the novel, usually when something needs to look prettier. Many of the wives decorate themselves with flowers, and a lot of them have gardens with flowers in them.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it does seem interesting. However, this novel doesn't seem like it's going to have a happy ending. What does Offred think of her new situation as a handmaid? As a matter of fact, what do the commander and wife think too?
Offred tells the entire story through her own eyes. This allows us insight into her thoughts, but restricts us from the thoughts and opinions of other characters, such as the commanders and their wives. We can imagine that both would have very strong but different opinions on these new laws. Because the story is told from the point of view of Offred, we only see Gilead as she sees it, completely controlled by forces out of her possession. A lot of the novel consists of Offred and her inner thoughts about the structure of Gilead. However, as her story progresses, the dialogue and interactions between her and other characters pick up.
Another interesting aspect of Offred's storytelling is her numerous flashbacks. You can tell she really misses her old life with her husband and daughter.
The flashbacks are a huge part of the way Offred tells her story. Though she outwardly submits to her new life, Offred gives us insight into her want to return to life with her family. Her tone is submissive but hopeful. She accepts the fact that she cannot change what is going on, but she supports those who believe they can rebel, such as her friend Moria.
So we can tell in some of the flashbacks that Offred is used to be against the rallies and protests regarding feminism. She was never grateful of the work her own mother did in support of all women. Offred never paid much attention to what was happening politically in the United States and eventually Gilead until it affected her. And now she's unhappy with her situation. She appreciates her life with Luke and her daughter, as well as her mother's efforts more.
So let's get back to present time Gilead. Basically, women were seen as objects, and men treated them as property. The only reason they were valuable to society was purely because of their ability to carry a child.
Even in our culture now, women can be seen as objects and property, whose name is taken after marriage.
Imagine if the roles in this novel were reversed, and the women were using the men.
You would never see that, no matter what culture. Past, present, future, men are always seen as dominant figures in society. People criticize women in power, but when a man uses the same tactics, they're applauded.
Exactly. This book really shows how even in the future, women are expected to submit to the power of men. There are so many different opinions on feminism today, but overall we can sum it up as equality between men and women, and clearly some people believe it will never happen.
Seems like Margaret Atwood is one of those people.
Maybe, but she does show that despite all of the oppression of women's rights, there still are feminists fighting to keep them.
Like Afghan and Moria.
Absolutely. Both are very involved in the resistance and believe the Republic of Gilead can be changed, and they have the courage to do something for this cause. Unfortunately, their efforts show to be unsuccessful as Moria gives up and becomes a prostitute after a failed escape, and Auckland hangs herself rather than be tortured when the support of the rebellion is exposed.
So is Offred a feminist or not?
I don't think Offred would classify herself as a feminist, but she has the basic belief of a feminist equality. Though she doesn't outwardly rebel against the Gilead government, we hear her opinion through the whole story, and we know that she feels women should be equal with men. She even mentions that her job and money were taken from her. She felt uncomfortable with her own husband because of the inequality of power.
I think all women could agree that the expectation that men have more power is frustrating and unfair.
The language used throughout the novel is a very important part of the power structure in Gilead. Those who were free to speak, such as the commander of wives, aunts, and the angels, were the characters who were in control. In other words, by restricting the language of certain individuals, those who are free to speak become all the more powerful. We see the biggest restriction of language when Offred and Auckland walked into the market and had to whisper to each other because there were always people listening and watching them.
That explains why Offred recalls so much of what Aunt Lydia has said to her. The handmaids are influenced by what they hear, which is mostly the only condescending orders of their superiors.
So is that why the games of Scrabble is so significant for Offred?
Definitely. By giving permission to play Scrabble with the commander, Offred is given a form of language she is forbidden to have by law. When the two of them secretly meet together, he gives her more freedom each time and even asks her opinion on how things are and were before.
It is here where we see Offred becomes more outspoken and daring than she was before. The saying in her room, Nolite te bastardes carborandorum, in English, translating to, "Don't let the bastards grind you down," gives Offred a sense of power and resistance, especially after the commander is the one to give her the translation.
The ideas in this novel seem crazy. Are there any other stories or books like it?
The rules and restrictions in Gilead are similar to those of the districts of the Hunger Games trilogy. While Offred does not rebel and is not similar to Katniss, the totalitarian government and the aspects of control in Gilead and Panem resemble each other.
Yeah, you're right. In both The Handmaid's Tale and The Hunger Games, the higher political figures use public violence to create fear and gain compliance from the citizens they are oppressing. While in The Handmaid's Tale, men found guilty of rape or sexual assault were hanged on a public bridge, The Hunger Games used public whippings to show the power of the government and inflict fear.
Poor Gail.
The duties of the handmaids and the tributes are both said to be benefit to the entire society. The handmaids were used to bear new children and continue the human race, while the tributes of the Hunger Games were used to remind the districts that they need each other and are not strong enough to stand alone.
Looks like we're out of time. That's all we have for today. Thanks for listening.
My name's Allie.
My name is Maddie.
My name is Doug.
My name's Alexandra.
My name is Shikun.
And my name is Madison. Have a great day.